Joining us now from Augusta, Gary Williams, host of Five Clubs Golf. It can be seen on Golf Channel 8 to 9 a.m. It's available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube and other socials. An homage to the five founding clubs that eventually formed the USGA in 1894. Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Oh, my boy. To hear you go through the various arteries that will ultimately get you into the river of the Masters. Just think about, even though the game has gotten appreciably younger, for most people, you know what they'll do? They'll just watch live from until it's on a platform that they have a remote that they can just hit and go, there it is.
It is. Well, we're lazy,
You're right about
Gary.
that.
We are lazy. We want the easiest, quickest thing. But, I mean, the Masters app, as you know, Gary, is
it's
a
magical.
wonder. And they were out in front of this well ahead of time. They could easily charge monies for people to have access to the app, but they're like, no, that's not what we do.
Mm-hmm.
So
no, you're absolutely right. They are. Look, you're a techie. You always have been. I'm not. But what I know is when something works, there's nothing like it, and it is. I've never had a glitch. I've never had anything that I went, God, this is, this is challenging. No, they're so far ahead on a lot of things. And that particular delivery has been unbelievable from the moment it was created.
all right, let me zoom out, Gary, and talk about this year's tournament, the 90th edition of this wonderful tradition unlike any other. And that is, I've struggled personally trying to figure out, okay, what am I holding on to here? What's the angle? What's the hook on this year's tournament? And it kind of dawned on me that for the first time in a long time, there wasn't that one guy that we're all like, is this the year so-and-so finally wins? Because Rory got it off his to-do list last year. What do you think is the hook or the big storyline this year?
Yeah, no, I think that's certainly part of it. Look, if people want to look at someone like Tommy Fleetwood and say, it's about time, I don't necessarily buy into that. I think he's a wonderful player. If he wins a major, I won't be a bit surprised. If he never wins a major, I won't be a bit surprised, really. He's a terrific player. He's not a generational talent. Generational talents I earmark majors for. He's not that. Mm-hmm. So to the other part of what you said about not a guy, because Scheffler, and again, this is all relative, he's had this modest ebb in terms of his performance. If anybody else, and that's Rory included, came into this Masters with a win, multiple top fives, and his worst result was a top 25 worst, you'd say he's in the best form of anybody. But it's Scheffler. So there's a little pause for him. There's a little pause for Rory because of what happened at Bay Hill, and I thought his iron play was so good on the West Coast. I'm like, okay, he could do this back-to-back thing if he can get past the emotional component. I have a top line of about 6 guys that I think, for various reasons, Bryson, Rahm, Scheffler, Rory, Xander, and Cam Young. That's my 6-pack who I put on the same top line.
What do you think about Oberg, though? He seems to be a guy he's been playing 3 days very well in the tournament, then one day he doesn't. Does he have a chance?
Yeah, Brian, that's a problem in a competition that requires 4 rounds. And in particular, and here's the thing about him, that there are very few great players, regardless of generation, because, most of us have been alive long enough to not remember moments of Jack gacking and Tiger not doing the same. They all have these elements of scar tissue. And now Ludwig Oberg, has one in particular at the Players. He's 26 years old. He's played here twice. He's played exceptionally well. He's got to get through this vortex now of being able to figure out, how to be level and oriented in the last 9 holes of these big events. I would put him, that's why, Brian, I would put him just below those other 6. But he's got the chops, man, and it's just a matter of time where he's going to get over the line when it comes to these events. And look, there are 4 of them. They're elusive. It ain't easy, and it wouldn't surprise me if it was this week, but I would still put him on that second tier.
Gary, you said you're not a techie. So this one is probably a bad question to ask. Young Ryan, our producer, asked me about, actually it was Walker, he said, what's the deal with this 3D printed 5-iron that Bryson has? And I'm like confidently saying, well, what he does is he's 3D prints it. And then I get a little bit into it, and now I'm lost. Now I'm Googling. I'm trying to watch YouTube videos on this. Like, it is kind of wild what you're able to do now. Do you know anything about this 3D printed 5-iron?
Here's what I know. It's conforming, and that's the end of my story.
Right. Okay, well, so here's the question. You know how the USGA is. They make these clubs go through all kinds of tests. They run it through the Iron Byron robot tester. They measure it with all kinds of things. How do you do that for a single club that is a one-of-one that he cooked up at someone's lab?
Yeah, it would be no different than driver testing. And so, the idea that again, here's the other part of this. This is not something that on off weeks this club is being sent. These guys are tested every week during regular PGA Tour events. It's supposed to be kind of random. It's kind of like drug testing,
right,
in other sports. So, like for instance, you go back to the PGA last year in Charlotte. Rory had a non-conforming driver, because he had hit it out of form. He had made it non-conforming because the attrition of hitting a club out of the center of the face, as these aliens do repeatedly, is going to make them non-conforming from one ball to the next. It goes from conforming to non-conforming. Scheffler, by the way, he won the event. His driver last year was non-conforming. They're tested at majors. At all of them, so it's not like he's skirting for a while and then oh God, here come the cops. No, I mean the club's tested and it's conforming, and that's what I know with respect to the components of the club and the way it's built. You got me.
Yeah, no, look, it's something that this is kind of Bryson's shtick. I will say this
very much.
Bryson has reveled in being the mad scientist. He does have a mongoloid set of clubs that are all one length, that have super thick grips, and he's learned to play with them. I give him credit for that. He's a guy that does it different. But here's the question that I want to ask you, Gary, and this is a common question amongst my golf group chats and circles. Are you Bryson positive, Bryson neutral, or Bryson negative? As a fan,
I would answer,
I'm trending Bryson positive where I was neutral before. I wouldn't say I'm a fanboy, but I don't hate necessarily who he is and what he's doing.
Here's what I would say: I'm Bryson positive because he is genuinely interesting, and I do think when he's off the golf course, he tries too hard to be interesting. Your game is interesting.
Right.
Yeah. The idea of trying to explain yourself in a way, and I've played golf with him. I actually won a pro-am with him.
Nice.
And he actually hit some shots. One of my buddies who I invited to play in this pro-am was left-handed, and Bryson hit 2 drivers with his club, and I videotaped it. And if I sent it to you, you would say, "Is that guy a tour player?" No, I'm not kidding.
I've seen some tour guys hit drivers lefty, and it blows me away. I've seen
it's mind-blowing.
Kep could do it. These guys are freak athletes.
He is. I find him very, very interesting. I think he's an incredible asset because he is provocative and polarizing. You take a side. How many guys in this game do you take a side on?
Yeah,
Come on. I mean,
true.
it's just a handful at most.
Yeah. And, given that he was right there last year and then fell apart on the final round, you think he might be there again. He's had a great start so far on the boombox and short circuit, so there's that at least. But the course is going to be firm and fast. They've never had it this dry for this long of a stretch down there. The course looks immaculate. It's chilly. It's a little breezy going to be today. What do you think the winning number is, Gary?
I'm going 11 under as much as I think they have something that to the point you just made, is very rare here at any major championship. They have total control. And this place, because it's Oz, they have control at levels that others don't. I'm talking about not just moisture, but temperature as well. They literally are controlling the temperature of the ground. So this is a fascinating thing to see how much they're going to dial the knobs, because if they choose to, this will be the most interesting ground game Masters that a lot of people have seen in their lifetimes, because it's not just the contour of these greens. Anybody who's been here knows, yes, there's elevation change, and it's significant. What is most interesting to me about this place is that it's very rare to get a level lie anywhere other than on a team ground. And if the ground game is a genuine factor, and if it's bouncy, the end result of shots becomes much more like what Bobby Jones and Alistair McKenzie were envisioning, not the way it necessarily could play, but its presentation. And that was an homage to the old course, where they weren't thinking about, installing loblolly pines that are 50 feet high. One year they don't exist, the next year they've been installed, and voila. If he saw this place, he'd say, what happened? Is it a nursery again?
Yes.
So if it's like that, I will be enthralled at a level that I haven't been. Look, the Zach Johnson year was really, really dry. It was really, really cold.
Yeah.
And so that people can't, if you can't remember that far back, ground game is a factor. And I think the other guys that I think is interesting is, I think it eliminates guys who are not real flushers, because the exacting nature of a golf course is this dry. You can't wipe it around there and fake it in any way. But I think some mid-range guys then allow themselves to be able to reach par fives and two, and the shot making becomes a premium.
I'm sure you've seen this, Gary. I don't know if Brian has seen this. Have you seen the Aldridge Pot Geeter bladed chip on one so far today?
Nah.
No, I was calling the golf.
You might want to avert your eyes on this, but take a look at.
I've done that a few times.
Gary found himself
I
unable.
shouldn't see him doing stuff like I do, Gary.
Oh no! I mean, he found himself left of number one, where he couldn't putt it up onto the green with a huge bunker in between. He's standing where the patrons have been. It is flat and matted down and tighter than a hardwood floor, and he butter knifed it straight over the green.
That is, Steve, as you know, because you love it and you play it a lot. And Brian, I don't know how much golf you play, but
more than me.
There is nothing. there is, in my estimation, there is nothing that is more dispiriting and creating a crisis of confidence more than blading a chip.
Yeah.
It is, because then every subsequent chip, because guess what? Our garden variety, the chops that we hit like 4 or 5 greens around, okay?
Yeah.
So it means if it happens early, guess what? There's a dozen more of those to come.
Yeah,
Especially
you're thinking about it all day. I know that.
Oh, it's going to be in his head. God bless him. Good luck, the old pot geeter. It could be a long round. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs
Appreciate you,
Golf,
Gary.
8 to 9 a.m. every day on Golf Channel. Thank you, my friend.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Brian. You guys enjoy the Masters. I know you will.
All right, take care.
All right.